Hey everyone, Bob here, back in my basement nerd cave with an updated multiboard video. Now I've been using this system pretty much since it came out and I absolutely love it. And the multiboard team has continued to release updated parts that make the system even better, as well as new parts that totally expand the world of building with multiboard. And it's honestly been pretty fun to watch. Now you might be wondering why my board behind me is completely empty. Well, we got a bunch of work to do. We're going to take down that wall and replace some of the parts with the latest versions. We're going to add a completely new multi-board wall over on this black wall behind me, and then we're going to add a giant multi-bin wall over to my right. So we are going completely all in with multi-board today. So I guarantee that if you stay to the end of the video, you're going to pick up something about multi-board that you didn't know before. So let's get to it. So I removed all the existing quad snaps while it was mounted to the wall because I thought it would be less to manhandle and easier to take down, and I think it paid off. I wasn't happy with all the various shades of white on my wall, so I got some color match paint and cleaned it up. So what has changed in multi-board since I originally put up my wall? Well, first of all, the panels are a little thinner. They went from 6.4 millimeters down to 6.2, and this is part of the on-grid update, and you can see here on the left, the older panel is thicker than the one on the right. Next was the standard offset was moved from 8 millimeters down to 6.25 millimeters. This will give you less clearance for any cables you want to run behind your board, but with my setup, it's really not going to affect me, and I think it'll actually look better a little closer to the wall. The Part A quad snaps are now in an X pattern. You can see when I originally built my wall that they were separate, and this made it more fragile and delicate when moving it around before it was actually up on the wall. So I think this X pattern will definitely be a welcome addition. Finally, one of the biggest new changes is the move to the flush snap. The old snaps are now called raised snaps, and they sit proud of the surface about 2 millimeters or so, I think. I'll put one in here, and then let me get a Part A offset snap. And then we'll add in the flush snap, and we'll line up the squares on the Part A and the Part B to make sure they're going in the same direction, and then attach the flush Part B, and you can see it's perfectly flush to the surface. So with that change, there's no more dual or quad snaps. Since they're perfectly flush to the surface, you can't have any material connecting to other octagons. So there's only single flush snaps now, and if you need a quad, you just get 4 individual flush snaps. So I'm going to switch out all of my raised Part Bs with flush Part Bs, and I'm going to do those in white, so I have a solid white board except for any of my tool holders. So I have a boatload of the new Part A snaps and the flush Part Bs, and we're going to get those switched out on the board. And I will speed this up so you don't get bored. With these flush snaps, they're pretty thin, so occasionally they would bend when installing them. I saw Baloo on the forum designed a multi-board flush snap pusher, so if you're having trouble, be sure to check that out online. And now that both of my panels are ready, let's get them up on the wall. I then realized I put Part A snaps on both halves of the wall, so half of those will have to come off. The offset snap removal tool makes quick work of this, way better than removing the old Part Bs. Okay, so here's where I'm going to add a few new panels to my wall. I'm actually going to mount a sign in front of this section. So we're going to get it placed on there, get it marked out with a permanent marker where we need new holes, and get the anchors added. I'm still using these triple grip anchors because I have them, but they don't always seem to lock in, so I really much prefer the easy anchors that you screw in and then put in the screw. So a couple notes as we wrap this section up. When using the textured PEI plate, I don't like the shiny side facing out. I want a dull matte finish on my board, so I make sure I use the top side facing out from the wall. But with these flush snaps, the bottom side is the only side you see, so I don't want those to be shiny. So I use the bamboo cool plate, the normal one or super tack, and that way I get a nice matte finish that matches the rest of my board. I just wanted to show you the new tiles on my multi-board. I have the new tiles up top here, and then the old tiles, which are a little bit thicker, and you really can't even tell a bump at all. So if you're worried about mixing and matching old panels with new panels, I really don't think you need to be. So now that we got our existing multi-board updated, it's time to go to the dark side. And we're going to be setting up a whole new installation using the multi-board bolt lock mounts here. My wall used to be yellow and I had some really crappy drawer systems that didn't open and close very well, so I decided to paint it black and switch it out with a Harbor Freight toolbox. I can't wait to deck it out with some cool organization. So let's take a look at these bolt lock mounts. Now they are similar to the snaps. There is a 6.25 millimeter offset, but you bolt them on instead of snapping them on. They actually do still require a snap. This is a multi-board snap, and I'm going to snap it into my board, and that will seat nicely onto the bolt lock mount. And then you take one of the various kinds of bolts they have and screw it on. I then use this wrench that I got with one of my 3D printers, and it works well for tightening. And now you are bolted on. We are going to use these new bordered tiles that they released, and they're nice. They have a nice clean edge around them. But if you really like using these small thread holes with multi-points or pegboard accessories, you'll notice that where they join up together, you'll miss out on all those holes. So you'll definitely want to take that into account when choosing these tiles over the core tiles or the non-bordered tiles. These bolt lock mounts are nice because they don't just work with the multi-board tiles. They also work with the multi-bin plates, so you can combine them. So this is a multi-bin plate, and you can attach bins to it that have drawers inside. They're available in different sizes and depths to store anything you need. So to use this, you'll need a multi-bin plate snap, and that will just click into place like this. And that will go right there, and then you can bolt it on. Obviously, you'll use a white bolt depending on your color scheme. And now you can mix and match multi-board tiles and multi-bin plates right next to each other. So that's what we're going to be using here, and I'm only going to use the multi-board tiles because I'm going to have a whole wall of multi-bin plates in part 2 of this video. So let's get this board put together. So one thing I did want to mention are the kind of bolts I'm using. These bolts with the larger opening are called pass-through bolts, and they let you put a screw through them, and once you get your board mounted, you replace them with a bolt that can handle more weight. This is a small thread locking T-bolt, and on any quad snap, I'm going to be putting a screw right through the middle, so I don't need any pass-through bolts around the outside. So I'll be using these small thread locking T-bolts for any quad snap, and then for the duals, I'll have one pass-through bolt in them, and any single will be a pass-through bolt. I did remember that these multi-board tiles do have a directionality to them. There actually is a side that's supposed to be pointed up towards the ceiling. So each of the octagons have threads, and if you see the thread with just one line in it, that is the direction that's supposed to be pointed up. And all other sides have 2 lines. But from what I've seen, there is a super small number of use cases where this plays into account, but I'm just going to make sure that mine is done the right way, just in case. I decided to sort my big bucket of parts so I could find the piece I needed when I needed it, so hopefully that makes this go faster. At this speed, I'm like a ninja. So first I wanted to see if there were any studs where I wanted to place this board and where I wanted to screw it in, and that wasn't quite the case, so anchors it is. I had some trouble with things being level and looking level, and in the end I ended up undoing one screw and screwing another one in closer to where I thought it looked good. Since this was a black wall, my wife gave me a white ink marker from her craft room so I could mark out all the holes. Then time to install some more anchors I'm not a fan of, but I gotta use them up somehow. A quick wipe down of the wall and this board is ready for install. I screwed the board down at a few various places spread out throughout the board and then filled in the holes to try to get everything as best aligned as possible. Finally, I switched out all the pass-through bolts for the small locking thread T-bolts for the best strength. I decided I wasn't a big fan of these bright chrome screws on my black wall, so I got some Testors black flat paint and painted them. Then I did the same on my white wall. And finally, it's time to put tools on the wall. These small thread T-bolts, especially at the angle I was putting them in, were a little bit fidgety, but with a little bit of work, I got them up there. I did plan this out ahead of time, trying to figure out where exactly I wanted all my tools with this new additional wall, so I kind of had a good idea of where I wanted everything. And with all the tools added to the black wall, we can now get started on the white wall. Here you'll see me using the new multi-point driver tool they just released, along with the non-folded multi-points. And these are so much better than the folded multi-points. You can use PLA and they don't snap in half, and this driver really works well to get them on quick and move to your next tool. I just printed this plastic scraper holder that includes your extra blades, but then I couldn't find where they went to. So I got all my tools up. There's still a few things I'm working on building holders for that I'll soon add, and I got obviously a little more room to spare. And I think it's looking really good. But there's something still missing. I think we need to take this up a notch. I know what it needs. I'm lucky enough to get to play with some cool tools at the office for my day job, so time to put them to work on a Saturday. The final step to finish the sign is to sand the back of it. This gives it a cool frosted effect that diffracts the light and makes it glow more. I ended up deciding to mount these magnetically, so I used some foam to keep it from slipping, and this makes it so I can easily take it off if I need to. Well, there's nothing quite like a big reveal, so hopefully you enjoy this one. Those cables under my desk are my next project. These stacking bins were designed by Eternity Labs, and it seems like every day they're releasing a new cool model. Now I just need to decide what I'm going to put in them. You can see I tried a few different neon filaments on my wall, and I ended up using mainly Polymaker's Panchroma neon. The color's great, it's easy to get, and the price is pretty good. The pink is just a bit dimmer than the other colors, but I still think it looks really cool. I've got some really cool tool holders on my wall. I'm not sure where I originally saw these filament swatch holders, but I believe I modified them and put the magnets in, and then modified the spacing so that you could put multiples right next to each other. I love these radius gauges, so I designed a magnetic mount for them. Now this is a favorite. It holds my Pine-Sol soldering iron, all the tips including the CNC Kitchen heatset insert tips, and the OmniFixo helping hands. This Fantic rotary tool comes in handy for cleaning up supports, but I made this holder to store it so I don't have to take it out of the case every time I need to get a bit. And there's also room for a few favorites up front. And there you go, we made it! 2 walls down and 1 to go. Stay tuned for part 2 where we dive into the world of multi-bins. We'll be setting up a giant multi-bin wall over here to my right and decking it out with tons of storage. And if that's something that interests you, you know what to do. And as always, thanks for watching.